This is Tim Bryce with my column titled, My Talk on Citizenship, Redux. This is an updated version of a column I wrote some time ago. There's a book recommendation at the end which would make a great holiday gift for a young person in high school or college. I was recently asked to give a lecture on citizenship at a local Masonic lodge. Drawing from a couple of past columns, I assembled the following short talk. My biggest concern regarding citizenship pertains to how we teach history and civics in this country. In some high schools, American history runs from World War II to the present. This means students are not learning such things as the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution and Bill of Rights, the Civil War, the Louisiana Purchase, Lewis and Clark, Prohibition, the League of Nations, and much more. In other words, they only discuss the last 77 years and not the events leading up to the founding of our country and the turmoils we had to endure. As an aside, world history is now just World War I to the present. So much for the ancient Greeks, Egyptians, Romans, Marco Polo, the Magna Carta, Ferdinand Magellan, Alexander the Great et al. I presume they had no bearing on our civilization. Such ignorance of our history caused famed historian David McCullough to observe, quote, "We are raising a generation that is historically illiterate and have a very sketchy, thin knowledge of the system on which our entire civilization is based on. It is regrettable and dangerous." End quote. We're also not educating youth properly in terms of civics, understanding our responsibilities as citizens, such as voting, serving on a jury, how legislation is enacted, or what is included in the Constitution and Bill of Rights. No wonder young people do not grasp the significance of such things as the Electoral College, the structure of our government, or what their rights are. Naivete and ignorance leads to apathy at the ballot box. In the 2016 elections, only 57.9% of the citizens voted. Over 90 million didn't vote at all. This is a pitiful figure when you compare it to the other democracies like Australia, India, and the Scandinavian countries. Surprisingly, this was the highest voting percentage in the United States since 1968, which was 60.8%. The highest in recent history was in 1960, 63.1% for the Kennedy-Nixon election. Even though millennials ages 18 to 35 are now the largest potential voting bloc, they continue to have the lowest voter turnout of any age group. It is sad when legal immigrants understand the workings of the government and history better than native-born Americans. Maybe all citizens should take the same oath naturalized citizens do. Since 1778, immigrants coming to this country have had to pass a test and take an oath swearing their allegiance to the United States. The current oath is as follows, quote, "I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty of whom or of which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen. That I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear the true faith and allegiance to the same. That I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law. That I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by the law. That I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law, and that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God." End quote. Not surprising, immigrants coming through this program tend to appreciate this country and are more loyal than native-born Americans. Another cause for this could be because there is less emphasis on teaching American government and history in the schools than in years past. As such, the importance of being a citizen has not been impressed upon our youth. So, as a proposal, how about administering a modified version of the immigration oath to all native-born Americans, perhaps on July 4th? Better yet, how about Constitution Citizenship Day on September 17th? All that is necessary is to simply modify the first sentence of the immigration oath to wit, quote, "I hereby declare on oath that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic," end quote. Parents could give the oath to their children, thereby turning it into a family tradition. Civic organizations, local governments could administer it to public group settings, or perhaps some other venue. Maybe even the media could get involved and administer it over the airwaves or internet. It should be administered in some solemn way with the right hand raised and the left hand placed on either a copy of the U.S. Constitution or perhaps a holy book such as the Bible, Torah, or Quran. The oath is certainly not the same as the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. This is instead a reaffirmation of our commitment to our country and would help promote citizenship and voting. Maybe this is something that should be given routinely as opposed to just one time to remind people of their allegiance to this country. I cannot help but believe this simple gesture would have nothing but beneficial effects. One last observation. During this past year, the talking heads on television recommended avoiding any talk of politics at the dinner table, particularly during Thanksgiving, Christmas, and other holidays. I disagree. We do not do enough talking at the table in a calm and reasonable manner. Instead of leaving citizenship to the school educators and the media, parents should spend more time discussing it around the dinner table, not in a dictatorial manner, but in a frank and open discussion. I believe our youth would better understand the virtue of the Electoral College if it came from their parents as opposed to an entertainer or athlete. Maybe then youth will appreciate the need for citizenship. P.S. Here are some reading resources that should be useful. On the Internet, you'll find the Elementary Catechism of the Constitution of the United States, written in 1828 by Arthur J. Stansbury, Stansbury. For many years, school children learned this catechism. It is just as relevant today as it was nearly 200 years ago. It is available free of charge as a PDF file on the Internet. Also on the Internet, the U.S. Citizenship and Naturalization Service has a page describing Constitution Day and Citizenship Day, along with many links to free resources. My favorite book for young people is The 5,000-Year Leap, A Miracle That Changed the World by W. Cleon Skousen. It sells for about $16 to $18 and is available from Barnes & Noble and Amazon. This makes an excellent holiday gift suitable for students in high school and college. In my humble opinion, all young people should be given a copy of this book as it describes the mechanics of our government. Think of it as a crash course in civics. Remember, education is the key to our political future. Friends, keep the faith. This is Tim Bryce in Palm Harbor, Florida. Follow me on the Internet at timbryce.com.